Now, to connect the sensors to the data logger, we're going to use common Category 5 network wiring, which is relatively cheap. You can buy a whole roll for not much money. It has 4 pairs in it, or 8 wires. We'll make connections, 1 pair to each sensor, and then the other end will connect to the data logger, and we'll talk about data loggers in a little bit. The important thing to understand about this Cat5 wire is that it's a solid conductor, and it's very small, and so if you nick that conductor anywhere, it's likely to break. And of all the problems we've ever had in installing these things, the biggest problem is where the conductor got nicked and it broke, and then we had to spend time tracing down an issue. And to avoid nicking the conductor, we're going to use a pair of needle nose pliers. So if you take these needle nose pliers and you get a hold of the insulation and just pull it off like that, you avoid nicking. If you used a knife or something else, the chances of you nicking that conductor are pretty good. But if you just pull the insulation off, you never touch the conductor. And consequently, these will be a lot better connections and have a lot less tendency to break off. So we're just going to strip off 3 of them, 3 pairs. Now these other wires coming from the sensors are a lot bigger wires, and they are stranded wires, and so nicking them is not really the issue that it is on the telephone wire. So we can just use a pretty standard wire stripper for those. We're going to connect these using very small twist-on wire nuts. And so what we'll do is we'll twist the conductor together. Now to keep the water out of these connections and to help stabilize the wire so they don't flex too much, we'll just squirt a little bit of silicone into the wire nut and then screw the wire nut on. It looks really simple, and it is, but in years I've never had one of these fail, and this has been a really good system. When I get all these connections made, I like to take a plastic bottle of some sort. This is a medicine bottle, not too big, and I put all the connections inside of that bottle, and I take a wire tie and poke a hole in it, tie everything off to hold it together. And I like to bury this bottle, making sure that the mouth is down, and so that water will clearly get into it, but hopefully it'll drain back out and the connections up here will stay up where it's a little more dry. If they get wet, it's not going to hurt them. Now, this Cat5 cable and these connections, we can run 1,000 feet of cable between the sensors and the data logger. If it gets over 1,000 feet, it's probably not going to read so well, but the manufacturers say 1,000 feet is fine, so you could easily put 2 sets of sensors on one data logger up to 2,000 feet apart, 1,000 in each direction. So that gives you great flexibility to decide where you want to put your sensors. It's important for us to protect it from whatever might damage it, and of course the biggest thing is crop implements and tractors and things. This is an alfalfa field that's probably not going to be messed with very much until the life of the alfalfa is up, at which time it will be plowed up, and presumably this wire will then be replaced. So for now our goal is to just get it below the surface so that when the alfalfa is mowed, it doesn't get caught in the mower. And it's really pretty simple to just take a shovel, just pull the soil back and tuck the wire under. Of course, you could use a trencher, or you could plow it in any other way that you bury wire, and that depends on the relationship of your time and your effort to getting this wire in the ground. If you were doing a lot of it, it would certainly make sense to find an automated way to do it. This producer is going to hang this data recorder on a wooden post somewhere in this vicinity. We're just hooking it up right now to verify our connections and make sure that our splices over on the sensors are operational. We bring our Cat5 cable up through the bottom. There's a little strain reliever here, And we're careful not to nick the conductors as we strip these wires. So we bring the wires in from the alfalfa field, and we remember that the deep center, or the one at 48 inches, is the green one. The middle one, 30 inches, is blue, and the shallow one is brown. And so we put those in this order, shallow to deep. Just screw them onto the circuit board. There are two ones up here. It doesn't matter which order these are in, white or dark. And so you got 1 and sensor 2 and sensor 3. Once those are connected, we can push the button. This says that sensor 1 comes out, and the soil pressure, the water pressure in the soil, is 4 centibars, which indicates that that probe is nearly saturated, and that's because we saturated it and then buried it in a slurry. So it's going to take a day or two to settle down to the actual soil pressure. Probe 2 is 3 centibars. Probe 3 is 18 centibars. And so all 3 probes are working and everything is fine. Looks like it's ready to go. It's a matter of putting everything back together, hanging things up, burying the wires, and installing the sensors in the pasture here. And everything will be ready to go. And in a few days it'll settle down and start giving some good information.